Hey, it's Kimmy the Gadget Goddess, and I want to give you my first impressions after a little less than a week with the Google Pixel Fold. Now, a lot of people want and demand reviews early, but you're only getting first impressions from me from now, because it's a bit early in the game to be saying, hey, I'm all in for this, I like that. Let me get a couple of software updates and then we'll holler. But there are some things I'd like to cover because, for one, I didn't mention that I would be pairing this up alongside the Oppo Find-N. I'm carrying these two in tandem, although I'm using the Pixel Fold more. I find myself using the Google Pixel Fold primarily, and it's my primary SIM that's in it too. But what I'm saying is I rarely pick up the Oppo because I'm really trying to get the full Google Pixel Fold experience. I've been pairing this Oppo Find-N 2 for a minute, so I kind of know its ins and outs, what works, what doesn't. Take that with what I'm telling you and kind of measure it up together as far as when I start talking about battery life and things of that nature, because I'm using it like it's my only device, even though I have two devices with me at all times. You with me? All right. I don't think I have to tell you that like one of my favorite things about this phone is the wider front screen. Now, if you missed my video where I installed screen protectors, I have gotten my Hydrogel. It is a little big, so it's just a little big like the other. I do think it looks better than the IQ Shield. I will link to the description to these if you're interested. And I put one over the glass and everything works fine. People often wonder, once you put screen protectors on top of other screen protectors, are you gonna have problems? No, there's actually a setting in this phone for screen protectors if you want to increase the sensitivity. So I activated that even before I installed the matte on top of the tempered glass. As personal preference as me, and it has a slight halo around the sides, but with the case on you really can't see it that well. That's how I'm rolling. I like the matte. I matted it all over. It improved the look of the crease. It's not as noticeable, and I tell people that all the time. So if you missed that video, I'll tag it here. But there I installed the IQ shields, and now I'm using Hydrogel shield. I'll link to both in case you're interested in the other. But the other requires a wet install. Some people are concerned about wet installs. For those interested in the Hydrogel screen protector, it comes with a hinge piece, so that's why mine is a matte finish and not covered in fingerprints like some phones. So that's a nice little piece. They do have a piece for the camera in the back that I have not installed. I'm considering it. I'm just wanting to see if it's going to cause any issues with me taking pictures. I don't like to cover my camera at all. If you caught that on my video about the later case, I like my cameras wide open. Just wanted to let you know that that piece is in there for the hinge. And it's a 3-piece set, so there's a piece for the back as well. So if you got that porcelain and it's a glossy finish and you really want it to be matte, you can stick the back protector over there, and I think the back is separate from the camera, so if you don't want the camera covered, you don't have to cover that. But the back will cover that porcelain and make yours look matte like the black does. Also, while I have your attention, this is the later case. Again, excuse my smudges. I'm out here hot, I'm sweaty, and I'm recording a video. But it's been a while since I've been outside, so I really wanted to get out here like I was trying to originally get to. This is a later case. I did a later case and a pretty generic carbon fiber aramid case, which people seem to like better. I do have another case coming that's a little bit cheaper than both of those. And if you'd like to see me do a video on that, let me know. If not, I won't, because case videos are case videos. Usually you're on YouTube looking for a particular case. When I run across some of these cases that aren't really popular, if I post a video, some people run across it and say, thank you, wow, I really like this case. And then others are like, you know, it's just another case video. So I'll post it if you want me to. It's a purple and black aramid case, but just let me know down in the comments. Speaking of accessories in this case, and if you want to see the other case, I like that this phone has lots of accessories on Amazon, on eBay. Just Googling around, you can find many accessories for this phone, whether you need big thick cases for work, whether you prefer thin cases like I do. I'm gonna even venture out there and start looking for some girly cases, because they gotta look out for us too. But I'm impressed with how much was available when phones released. You know how upset I was when I got the Samsung Z Fold 2 and could not find cases that would stay on the phone. I had a case journey then. I like when I don't have to have a case journey, so I appreciate that. I had to give part of that, you know, recognition to Google for getting, you know, they have to get the designs out to these case companies so they can have cases ready at release. So shout out to Google for that. What I wanted to do is show you another feature I really like. I like multitasking on this phone. Now, I've multitasked on multiple foldable devices. I will say I go into YouTube, and then there's YouTube, and we can say, hey, of course, I'm gonna go to my channel. So I'm gonna go to the later case video, and I pull up from the bottom, and I can multitask. So let's say I wanna put Twitter on one side. So I'll put Twitter over here. The Braves just won, go Braves. But yeah, I can have both of those popping off, and let's say I want to turn it sideways, and then I can scroll Twitter while I am watching a YouTube video. So a lot of people are taking issues with the applications not being optimized for the screen. It's hit and miss, and sometimes you really can just turn the screen to get the effect you want. I go outside of this and I want to open up, let's say I want to go over here to Chrome, and I was looking at a spot for after the work party spot for us to go and have drinks with some of the coworkers. This is Papa Doc's, so this is Lake Wiley area in South Carolina, if you're familiar. But either way, I was just looking through some different places kind of to hit a bar so I wouldn't have to get in the traffic on my way home. But let's say I want to go back to my multitask screen. I just pull it right back up. So I can switch between, you know, what I was looking at, and it's fine. It's a great experience. I do enjoy that a lot. That's a little low-key, you know, kind of things that people ain't really talking about. But again, flipping the screen around changes a lot of things. And if you feel like that's not enough for you, you can always default to the home screen on the front of the phone. Another thing I like to touch on is that it's absolutely funny to me that I was so obsessed with the fingerprint unlock that I forgot I had face unlock. So fingerprint unlock is really fast, right? But the face unlock is just as fast. Like that, me behind the camera, I just opened that up. So I'm gonna lock it again. Before I could even get it up, it's unlocking. So it recognized me from behind the camera and said, hey, I'm gonna let you in your phone. So fingerprint unlock is great, but don't sleep on face unlock. It's wonderful as well. It tells you when you're in too dark an area and you need to give it more light. I like that. I'm up under this covered deck right now, and it's still got my face, so it's not too bad. And yeah, face unlock, fingerprint unlock is a win. Now that I've said face and fingerprint unlock are great, here's my screen is turned all the way up. I'm outside, and I really have to tell people to look into, like, I keep my phone on dark mode, so a lot of this is gonna look dark. But I've had no issues seeing things outside unless it was from the glare of having a glossy screen protector. Once you get a matte screen protector, you don't really have those worries anymore. Again, you can slightly see my crease. You know, it's there. It's a crease, it's a foldable. But at the same time, I can see my phone. I've never had any problems reading this phone outside. Now, most of my foldables have been that way, but I understand some people kind of complain. I try not to use phones in direct sunlight just because I live in the South and it's really hot. So, you know, I don't want to overheat my devices. And most of the time I'm in the car in air conditioning anyway. Yes, I just folded it up like that. The phone didn't fold itself. FYI, a lot of people feel like the phone doesn't open wide enough for them. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's not flat for most people, but it's flat enough for me. Oppo Find N, I guess it goes flatter maybe, but again, it's one of those things to where tomato, I don't really feel like there's much difference in these two other than size and weight. That being said, I have pulled up YouTube on the browser on both of these devices and set them on their brightest setting. Try not to get you too much glare here, but I see the glare kicking in. This is the Oppo Find N2. This is the Google Pixel Fold. So I can view more videos on the Google Pixel Fold. There's only a row or two here to go through my videos on the Oppo Find N. So it's a bigger phone. I've been telling people it is a bigger phone. It's not that these are the same size. They just have the same layout. You know, they fold from the side and they're wider. Let me talk about a couple of things that I don't really care for. And again, this is early on. This is just first impressions. To me, and the more I say this to people, still don't believe me. This is one of the heaviest foldables I've ever owned. If you do a lot of one-handed activity, get your wrist game up because it's coming. Like I noticed after a few minutes of using it with one hand that I'm using it with one hand and that my wrist is tired. I do like to two-hand this one. I guess that's why I don't really use the Oppo Find N as much when I'm using this one because both of my hands are occupied. It's a heavy phone. Again, it's very premium. So you can't really have both and have a light phone. I remember people were complaining about the iPhone being very heavy on a couple of releases. And I'm like, yeah, once you put all that glass and stainless steel and things like that, the phone's heavy. Let's just break it down and say the phone is heavy. The phone is heavy. Know what you're getting into before you get the device. Don't complain about it after you get it. It's heavy. Not gonna hold you long because my other complaint is on battery life, and again, I'm still breaking this phone in. It hasn't been a week, so I'm not putting much weight on this, but the standby time for this phone right now for me is trash. Like I am so used to carrying imports and waking up in the morning with barely any battery used, and for me I'm getting like 9 or 10% used overnight, and while I'm at work not even using the phone at all, I experience battery drain. Why is my battery dying so fast? So usually my happiness lies with me being able to go to bed that night with at least 50% of my battery life. When carrying two phones, that's the experience for me, and right now I'm not getting that. I might get home from work with 40% or 39 or something like that. At best, I'm gonna get a day, period. And in all fairness, I wear a smartwatch. So I wear a smartwatch every day, but on the weekends. Bluetooth is constantly running, but I'm on Wi-Fi all day. So I can't imagine what a person who doesn't have the access to Wi-Fi that I have all day long. I'm sure their battery is a little bit lighter than mine when they get home. Again, we can tweak things, we can do updates, and that can be fixed. So I'm not putting much weight on it. But right now, I'm not satisfied with my battery life. Other people might be getting better battery life. It does go with the person, but you rarely hear me talk junk about battery life unless it was around that Fold 3. I think I didn't care much for that battery life. But other than that, most of my foldables have been pretty good when it comes to battery life. This is my session of have you ever owned a Pixel? Whenever I hear this whole session of button placement on the Pixels. Now, I have not owned tons of Pixels. I'm fairly new to Pixels, but every Pixel I've owned has had the power button at the top and the volume rocker at the bottom. That's just always been the case. So when people say they don't like the button placement, it's just like, that's Pixel's way. This is the way for Pixel. So if you don't like that, then you might not want to carry Pixels because they're all designed that way. Every one I've had thus far has been power button at the top, volume rockers at the bottom. But this goes into a bigger problem of people wanting to compare their phone to a Samsung. And for the most part, if you want a Samsung device, don't buy a Pixel and ask for Samsung features on it. The same goes for like all the imports when people would say, hey, does this import have DeX? And I'm like, why would it have DeX when it's an Oppo or when it's a Vivo? No, Samsung has DeX, iPhone has iMessage. You're not getting iMessage on an Android unless you have a third-party app, but that's a whole nother, deal. Either way, that's talking applications and everything else. We're talking phones now, and just know these buttons have been these buttons ever since I can remember with Pixels. So they want their power button at the top, it's at the top. Deal with it. I'm gonna wrap this up. This was just a first impressions after 4.5 days, 5 days with the Pixel Fold. If you have questions and comments about this video, or if you want me to follow up on anything specific I said in this video for maybe the Your Questions Answered session of this device, let me know down in the comments. I'd like to thank you for stopping by my channel, checking out my first impressions of the Google Pixel Fold. If you've enjoyed this video, please click the like button. If you've enjoyed multiple videos on this channel, please consider subscribing. Subscriptions are free, memberships cost, and memberships have privileges. If you'd like to find out what those privileges are and you'd like to further support this channel, please click the join button and see what the perks for each tier of membership are. I'd like to thank you for your time, because time is money, and I hope to catch you on my next video.